there, this is attorney Sarah Holmes of Holmes Business Law P.C. We are a business and trademark law firm that also provides general counsel subscription services to business owners. One question we get asked all the time is, how do I negotiate a commercial lease? So that's a really good question, and it does involve a good deal and a good amount of not only negotiating skills, but knowing what it is exactly you're negotiating for and what some particular terms are and what they mean. So first of all, what you really need to keep in mind is that a commercial lease does not work the same as a residential lease. It's completely the opposite. Meaning, in a residential lease, tenants have a lot of protections, right? And there's a good policy reason behind that because it's people's homes, it's where they live, and the law makes policy decisions to keep people in their homes. So it's very difficult to, for example, evict a residential tenant. It's very difficult to put general maintenance on a tenant. And often in most cities, there are in fact laws that protect residential tenants. That is not the case with a commercial tenant. In fact, it's the exact opposite. There are no legal protections for the most part for a commercial tenant. That's because a commercial tenant is normally a business, and it's a business-to-business transaction. And the law's view on that is that each side, whether true or not, has equal negotiating power. So if there are terms that you don't want in a commercial lease, the law assumes that you would be able to negotiate those things out, and you do not need the protection of laws like consumers do. So that begs the question, though, who really does have the negotiating power in a commercial lease? Most of the time, it's the landlord. It can start to tip in a tenant's favor to the extent that, number one, the tenant is a viable ongoing business already. If it's a business that is already in business, it has significant revenue, and it's been in business for a longer period of time, and has already rented commercial space in the past, that's going to likely be a very different negotiation than a startup business with no revenue, no track record, and a brand new business owner. Brand new business owners will find that most of the time they have very little leverage in a commercial lease negotiation. That's because the landlord's like, why would I take a chance on this? This could be a 5-year term, a 10-year term. You don't even know how to run a business maybe at this point. We're not sure we want to take a chance on you. Whereas with an ongoing viable business, they already have a proven financial record. They probably have rental references, and the new landlord can be reasonably assured that this person knows how to run a business and is going to pay their rent on time. So the first part of negotiating a lease is, what position are you in? Are you the established business owner that has some leverage, or are you the newbie startup that's really going to have to prove yourself? The second thing is, how desirable is this property? To the extent this is a property in a desirable area at a competitive rate that has other people and other tenants interested in it, that again is going to lessen your negotiating power. If it is the type of building that has been vacant for a long time, maybe it's been vacant for several years, maybe it's a new owner and they really need to get it rented quickly, to that extent, you may have more negotiating power in the transaction. So you really have to think about, who am I, what's my standing right now? And secondly, how desirable is this property and how competitive is it? The more competitive the property, again, the less negotiating power you're going to have. Third is to just know basic terms in the lease and know what you want to ask for and know which things are important to you, and try to get a sense of what's important to the landlord, whether that's by talking to the broker or the real estate agent. But you can't really negotiate from a position of power without knowing some basic things. So number one would be understanding commercial lease terms. How is the commercial lease priced? It's mostly priced by square foot, and it's normally given to you as an annual rental rate. So you can do the math on that and figure out what you're going to pay monthly, but that's normally how it's done. You have to know the difference between a gross rental rate versus a triple net rate. A gross rental rate is something that's built all inclusive, and that would be your entire rent you pay every month. Most commercial rents, though, are triple net, which means that in addition to base rent, on top of that, every month, you're going to pay the landlord's taxes, insurance, and common area maintenance as well for the property. So you're adding those things back. And, if your monthly rent is $3,000, but you're in a triple net lease, you don't only pay $3,000 a month. You actually might be paying $3,500 a month by the time they add back the triple net. So you need to know these terms and what they mean when you are negotiating a commercial lease. Also know how long the term of the lease is going to be. Are they asking for a 5-year lease, a 10-year lease? We tell new business owners to start with a 3-year lease because typically at that that point in time. It's going to be a make it or break it for you, and you'll know whether you want to continue the business or not. You want to make sure to negotiate renewal rights up front in the primary lease so that, 3 years from now, you're not scrambling to either move or get better terms for your rental. You want to know if you have rights to assign or sublet the space. So if your business ran into trouble and you needed to sublet it, you need to know if that's okay to do. And another critical point is if that building or that space that you want to move into needs any type of work, who is doing that work? Is the landlord going to do the work? Are you doing the work as a tenant? Anytime a tenant takes on construction work in a commercial space, there's all kinds of things that can go wrong. We tell people right off the bat to triple your timeline and triple your budget to make sure that that's successful. So know what that is. Also know what your maintenance obligations as a tenant are going to be going forward, because those are all points that you can negotiate upfront as well. And then really what you should do is get the advice of an attorney and work with a lawyer to help you negotiate that lease. Oftentimes we have clients that will come in and they've already gotten themselves into an LOI. They've already agreed to certain things that we find out you didn't really need to agree to any of this. They don't understand what any of the terms are. And by that point, it could be too late. And whatever you do, do not ever sign a lease without talking to a lawyer or having it reviewed first. So of course, if you need help reviewing or negotiating a commercial lease, you can feel free to reach out to our office. Our number is 215-482-0285. Thanks.